Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, 5 InMail tricks that are getting huge results. Webinar is hosted by Giles Garnett, the head of professional services, and live chat is monitored by Jim, the head of customer service. We will have Q&A with Giles at the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for joining, and let's start our webinar.
Thank you, Jin, and hello, good morning and good afternoon or good evening to everyone wherever you may be in the world, and thank you ever so much for joining us for the latest in our series of free webinars. For anyone who's new to Dux-Soup or these webinars, in fact, my name is Giles and I'm head of professional services here at Dux-Soup, and I've been presenting these webinars for the last couple of years or so. Today we're going to be looking at what some consider to be a niche area, and certainly an underutilized area of LinkedIn, and it can be incredibly powerful and useful if used correctly, and that is InMails. And we're going to give you some tips and tricks to enable you to make the most of them. As always, Jin, who you just heard from, our head of customer support, will be monitoring the live chat and answering as many of your questions on the fly as possible. Do try and keep them on topic so that they're useful for the entire audience. And if you have non-webinar related questions, you can always contact our support team via the live chat on our support pages or on info@dux-soup.com. And before anybody asks, yes, the session is being recorded and will be made available via the usual channels. So if you registered, you'll get the link sent to you, but in the next few days, the link will also be made available in our library of webinars on our website. So very quickly, for anyone who's new on the call, who's not familiar with Dux-Soup and what it is, I'll just give you a very quick one-slider. Dux-Soup is a Chrome extension which you download from the Chrome Web Store. It's compatible with some other Chrome-based browsers as well, and you can use it to mimic human behavior on the LinkedIn platform. And that's on the free version, on the Sales Nav version, and on the Recruiter platforms. You select the list that you want Dux-Soup to process or run your actions against, and then you just choose the activities that you want to run against that list. And remember, it's human behavior. We are trying to keep your LinkedIn account as safe as possible, so it's very important that you follow our guidelines with regards to the amount of activities that the robot carries out on your behalf, because we want your accounts to remain safe. So hopefully everybody has a little bit of an overview of what Dux-Soup is and how it works, and maybe if you're new, then you can always catch up via our library of tutorials and webinars on our website. Let's move on then. So question number one today, what is InMail, or what are InMails? So InMails are a premium LinkedIn feature which allows users to message other LinkedIn members who you are not connected to. So if you only have basic LinkedIn or free LinkedIn, you can only message and connect with people who are connected to you up to 3 degrees away based upon your network. And you need a paid or premium account to be able to use the InMail credits or InMail features. And then users get the opportunity to set their openness to InMails via their preferences. Some people are very open to receiving InMails, some people less so. And these are all features that you get as part of your premium feature set. You get a number of credits on your account per month, depending on what type of account you have. And then you can reach out to users without sending a connection request. And there's a few benefits as to why you would use InMails, which we'll come on to shortly. With regards to the number of credits that you get, there's a recently updated answer on the LinkedIn pages, which I've referenced here. If you've got Premium Essential, Pro, Sales Navigator, or Recruiter Lite, those are the number of InMail credits you get per month. And you see over on the right-hand side there, the maximum number of credits you can have in your account. So you can carry over up to 3 months worth of credits as you go through your outreach. So that's how that works. So you have a finite number of credits, but there are a few tips and tricks that we have as to how you can make better use of those and indeed send out messages without having to use these credits. Why would you want to use an InMail? If you're a premium user, so you've got Sales Navigator or Recruiter, for example, you have a lot more search features, additional filter options within the platform. You have a greater breadth for being able to filter down your target market. With InMails, you can send a much longer message. You get a 2,000 character message as opposed to a connection request, which is only 300 characters. And you get a subject header. So you can actually put a banner or a headline in your email, or InMail, I should say, which allows you to hopefully get the attention of your prospects. If you're using InMails as well, you can go beyond the normal LinkedIn connection request restrictions. So we see that, you know, around, was it 14, 15 months ago, LinkedIn started bringing in these weekly connection request limits. With InMails, of course, that gives you the opportunity to reach out to more people beyond just the pure, simple connection request activity, which so many people are familiar with and use extensively, of course. And then also, if you get a reply to your InMail, you get your credit back. If you get that reply within 3 months, that credit comes back to you. So if you're really efficient with your InMailing, you can actually not, if you're very efficient and you get good response rates, then you can actually be sending a lot of InMails out on an ongoing basis, and hopefully then being able to do that to complement your connection request activity as well. So with regards to the actual messaging in InMails, you need to think about how you construct it. The content of your InMails is incredibly important, and that goes, of course, for all messaging in LinkedIn. But if you're using a premium feature, a paid feature such as InMailing, you're wanting to start a conversation. You make sure that you put something in the subject line that engages with the person, and that the message also appears personal. There's all sorts of different blogs and posts that you can read about this across the web, but make use of open-ended questions or a call to action to try and stimulate a response. Ultimately, with an InMail, you're not asking for a connection request, you're just looking for a response, because that response, hopefully then, if they respond with you, you would then hopefully maybe even get a connection request back from them. Now, as well as all of that, you can then utilize some of the features of Dux-Soup to maximize your potential outreach. And I can show you that in a second when it comes to some of the additional features that Dux-Soup gives you. We'll do that in the demo. As you've seen, we have a finite number of credits per month, but Dux-Soup also allows you to make use of the free InMail facilities within LinkedIn. Many premium users have an open profile, so you can send them an InMail without having to use up a credit. So within Dux-Soup, we have the ability to be able to get Dux-Soup to skip a profile if it's not an open link member. And then if that person is able to receive InMails without using a credit, then you can ask Dux-Soup to send that message to those. I'll show you that in the demo very shortly as to how that works. So this is an incredibly useful way to sort of go above and beyond your monthly limit of InMail credits to target the people who are open to receiving InMails without it costing you one of your credits. And that's a really good thing, because it's not the way, you can't filter your search results by that within LinkedIn, but you can use the features within Dux-Soup to identify those people, or to only visit those people, I should say. And then finally, and we'll touch on this a little bit, but I did this quite extensively in the last webinar about custom messaging. So you see here with Dux-Soup, when you're sending out an InMail, you can make use of your of the markers that you can see here in the bottom left with regards sending your connection request. So _FN_ for your first name, etc., etc. If you look back at the webinar from 2 weeks ago, there's also quite a detailed explanation in that as to how you can put in custom fields. And if we have time at the end of the webinar, I will also demonstrate that as well. See there in the very bottom left where it says P1 to P5. If you, for example, are visiting or InMailing people from a CSV file, a custom list, you can make use of these facilities to make your message look even more personalized and tailored to your audience. And another tip for you: every time you reach out to somebody, make sure that you tag them with a Dux-Soup tag. In this case, I've just put InMail there, the option there on the right, and we'll show you that as well when I do the demo. That allows you to have traceability, so you can see exactly who you have sent an InMail to, and then maybe you want to follow it up with another action. I mean, I've just put one there. You can, I actually falling over my words. I generally put in several tags depending on what I'm doing. So I will often tag profiles with their industry, their location, and then maybe anything else if I'm doing some sort of a campaign as well. So I can go back and look to see who's received what in the future. So that's kind of a flavor of what I'd like to cover today. So I'd like to demonstrate some of that, especially the Dux-Soup functionalities, and also just explain how it all looks within the LinkedIn environment. I'm going to be demoing this within Sales Navigator because that's the account that I've got, but a lot of this is also applicable for Recruiter. So let's come out of here and go to my LinkedIn accounts. Right, before we go any further, I know we've got a big attendance today. We've got a lot of people registered today. If you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, please feel free. This is me here on the screen now. Hopefully you can all see that nice and clearly. Feel free to send me a connection request, put in a note as to how you found me via Dux-Soup webinars. I'm happy to engage with Dux-Soup users and indeed anyone who wants to reach out to me. So please feel free to send me a connection request. Very happy to engage with users as we go through. So if we now go to our Sales Navigator page, so I've got here just a saved search here, which I can see here straight away. There's a few people here with, should we say, premium accounts, and I can see that because they've got that little gold IN against their name there. So if I go to, for example, there was a guy I was looking at earlier. I think it was this guy. Let's have a look. We'll open his profile. So we can see here, this guy's got a premium account and he's an open, he's got an open link membership. So that means I can message him without it costing me a credit. So if I was to now, for example, to press on the message button there, we can see here, new InMail, it's free to an open profile. So this guy would be perfect for being able to send a free InMail to. If we just go back to somebody else a second, if I just take, I don't know, this chap here, let's open his profile. Now he's not got open or anything like that there. And if I want to message him using an InMail, you see here, I would be using one of my 150 remaining credits. So you can see there the difference as to how that looks within the LinkedIn environment. Now, I know that there are some slight changes in the Sales Navigator environment over the last couple of weeks, so it's not all exactly the same for everyone, but the idea is the same. When you want to message someone, you get a clear view as to how many credits you've got and what is being used in the activity that you want to carry out. So say, for example, we now have our list on screen here, this Sales Navigator search. We would like to send some of these people an InMail, but we don't want to use any of our InMail credits because we've got a long list here. What I would do then is I can go to my Dux-Soup options, and I'm going to go up here in the top right hand corner to my options. And what I've got here is I've just put in here a very generic, fairly bland message. I'm not actually going to send this, but yeah, I've got here a message about lead generation and a message here using the markers to make it look like I'm making it personalized. I've got a URL in there, etc., etc. And it's it's not that long a message, but it's 800 characters long. And what I would like to do then, while I'm carrying out my visits to these profiles, I want to tag these profiles with InMail. Now, I also noticed, I think this one also had Arizona on there as a location, so I might want to tag them with InMail and Arizona. And then this is the important bit to make sure you only hit those profiles which are open. When you go to your skipping options here, this one here. So skip if not an open link member. So if I enable that one, then Dux-Soup will skip them unless it identifies them as an open link member. And that way I know that I'm not using my InMail credits and I can just send some InMails out to them. Now, we understand, and I must admit I haven't tested it, that there is a theoretical limit of around 800 InMails, free InMails per month that you can send. I can't confirm or deny that because I haven't tested that to its fullest extent. And what I've also done here is I've actually turned on this option here to skip profiles if they've previously been tagged with InMail. And that way I can say, yeah, if I've previously InMailed them before, then they're not going to get another one. I'm only going to try and send them to people who are an open link member, because I'm going to skip them if they're not. And then all I need to do having set up all my other options, etc., is then go up here to the top and then just press visit profiles. And during that auto visit, then Dux-Soup would then open the profile, send the message, and not use a credit, because it would only open the profiles that required. What I'm going to do just very quickly to demonstrate this is I'm actually going to turn off the message so you can see it's skipping the people who aren't open link members. Let's just change those settings a second, and I just need to make sure that the planner is enabled for now. There we go. Let's save that. There we go. So I will now just go and visit a few profiles, and what we should see is it'll skip the first couple, and then it will open a profile, but it won't send the message because I've turned that off for now. So here we go. We will now leave this to run for a second or two. So this way you can really make sure that, yeah, you're only visiting those profiles who are open. And of course, if those people have got a premium account and they've got an open profile, they are engaged in the platform. They are active, so they are not open link, not open link. So you can see there, the first two there weren't open links, so it skipped them. Yeah, by targeting the premium users on LinkedIn, you are actually then targeting the people who are more likely to be active as well. So that also improves your chances of engagement with people. You are hopefully engaging with like-minded individuals who have a good level of engagement on the platform. And this is going to take a bit longer because that's always the case when you try a live demo, isn't it? Hopefully, yeah. So it's now going to open Gerald. It won't send the message because I turned the message bit off, but we can see here that it will. It's actually it's saved the InMail tag and the Arizona tag, and then it's going to pause for a couple of seconds, and then it's going to move on to the next one. And let's just very quickly, just to show you how you can then see those people that you've tagged. If I click on my Dux-Soup icon and I click on search by tag, and if I type in here InMail, I can then see down here, there's the guy who's got the InMail tag against him. So I can then make sure that I'm properly giving myself a the traceability going forward in order to be able to reach out to the correct people. So that's how you can really harness the power of Dux-Soup, the functionality within Dux-Soup, to allow you to reach out to the correct people. We'll stop the robot there a second, and then there's one other thing I'd like to show you, and this is getting a little bit more advanced, and this is touching as well upon the webinar from a couple of weeks ago. If you create what we call a custom list within LinkedIn, within Dux-Soup, I should say, and then you want to give it even more levels of customization, your message, you can do that using Dux-Soup. So again, here, if we turn on our InMail, and you see here, I've got these placeholders, P1 to P5 value from the CSV file. Now, 2 weeks ago, if you were present, or if you have the chance to look back, I created a custom file with three columns, which were P1, P2, and P3. So I could then write a more extensive message, and you can only do that using the custom file and the revisit tool within Dux-Soup. If we click on the Dux-Soup icon and go to the revisit data button here, and click here to select the appropriate file, and it was this one here from the webinar 2 weeks ago. If I open that one, so we have here, we can see our revisit file here, and I've got here the URLs of the people. I scanned a list within Sales Navigator, so I was able to pull out the URLs, and then I've got here P1 is gender-based, so I was able to specify whether they are male or female targets, their location, and their company name. I edited down their company name. So I could now, for example, in my if I was to run my my options against this one, I could hear a quick question about lead generation in, and if I take the location, P2. So there we go, I'd say in underscore P2 underscore. So I'll then take out the location. Hi, and I might here do underscore P1 underscore, make it more formal, shall we? Because we are being a little bit more respectful. Dear P1 space underscore LN underscore, and that would then take out, as we go back to our custom list here, the greeting, in this case, Mr. or Ms, and then the last name. So you would then be able to have your message defined a little bit more specifically. So we then have that there. And then I might also then put in something referring to their company name, which I've refined here as well within my thing. So I can then customize the message even more. And you do all of this within the CSV file. What I try and do second is just open up that CSV file if I can find it to show you how it looks. Here we go. Wait for this to open. So here I have my custom file that I created. So we can see here that I've got the profile URL, which has come from, in this case, Sales Navigator. There's my P1 column, my P2 column, and my P3 column. So I can then make a much more customized message. And I say, if you want to look back at more details as to how to do that, have a look at the webinar from 2 weeks ago. It's on our website. If I just very quickly show you where you can find that. If you go to our homepage and go to the resources, here under webinars, you can register for all of the upcoming webinars here, but then also you can see here, this one here, using LinkedIn data to personalize your outreach and improve response rates. So that was the webinar from 2 weeks ago. If you just go there, that takes you to the YouTube link where you can review the information there and how to put together a customized messaging sheet such as this. So if I just go back to my slides a second, there we go. Our top 5 tips for InMails. Make use of the Sales Navigator and Recruiter features to filter your targets properly. Use your credits carefully to target specific people. A lot of people I know will only use their real credits, as it were, against senior people or real high prospect targets. Focus on the content of your message. It's really, really important. Think about making it conversational, leave open-ended questions, try and get people to engage with you. That way you are more likely to get a response. And then make use of Dux-Soup to reach out to more people using the free InMails that are available to you. You've got the premium package, the premium LinkedIn package, you've got Dux-Soup, and you can then use Recruiter or Sales Navigator to reach out to those people with open link profiles. And then finally, make use of the other Dux-Soup features to ensure effective outreach. So think about customizing your messaging even more so that it really does have that extra special. You want to make people feel like it is a real, truly personalized message rather than just a robot that's going out doing copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. And then make use of the tagging as well. The tagging gives you that traceability because you can then circle back around in the future and send further messages to those people once you've tagged them. It's a very useful way to do that, using the search by tag feature within Dux-Soup to create your own list from there. A couple of other quick things before we get on to questions. So start getting your questions in if you need them answered. For people who are, or for users who've got team or agency plans, we have in the last 6 weeks, I think it was, 6 weeks ago, I think it was, we launched our Dux-Soup High Flyers. So if you have passed a certain threshold, as you can see there on the screen at the bottom, then you are entitled to certain high flyer program benefits. So be aware of those. You can always reach out to our support team if you need more information about those particular things, or if you're thinking, well, where do I get my links to be able to book these things? That's all available through our amazing support team. So yeah, let them know. Coming up in 2 weeks' time, we are, I think for the first time in about 9 or 10 months, going to be doing a Getting Started with Dux-Soup webinar. So we are going to go back to basics. We're going to go through the installation and then show you how all of the basic features work to get you up and running and give you a little bit of confidence going forward with your lead generation outreach, and how you can sort of start to make the most of the amazing resource that is LinkedIn. I mean, it's a phenomenal resource, and to do all of that manually can take an awful lot of time and effort. Hopefully Dux-Soup is there to be able to ease some of that repetitive pain and give you the opportunity to make better use of your time and resources. One last thing, booster and tech calls, always available. If you do need extra page support, we can help with consultation, etc., etc. If you do need extra help in setting up your campaigns or building things within integrations and those sorts of stuff, we can always assist with that. Jin, we have reached the moment where if there are any questions, please fire them across.
Hello, hello. Yes, we have quite a few questions. First question would be, is Turbo required for most of these features?
No, and that was one thing I meant to say at the start of the webinar, and apologies for that. It's here on my notes. I don't know how I forgot it. The features that I've shown today are available for any paid version of Dux-Soup. So just to go back and show you the options. So the InMail here, this is a standard feature within either Pro or Turbo. You can send an InMail to second and third degree connections using Pro. And then also the skipping rules here, this is available to all as well. So as long as you have a paid version of Dux-Soup, then these features are available to you. You do need a paid version of LinkedIn though. So that's just something to be aware of.
Thank you. Another question would be, would you be able to clarify what are the limits of the number of open profiles people can message per day?
I don't know how many you can message per day. I haven't been able to, I've done some testing and I've never reached that limit. I've been able to successfully send sort of in the region of 100 in a day. I haven't gone beyond that, certainly recently anyway. But yeah, I think it's very much trial and error and see if it works. Remember, when you're doing all of this outreach activity, if you want to see what has worked, you can always go to your Dux dash and see your activity log. So if you just click on your Dux-Soup icon and go down to the bottom where it says the Dux dash here. Now I've got, of course, Turbo here, so that's why you see lots of items here. But you do, even in Pro, you have your activity log here, which lists the actions that you have carried out, and you can see here whether stuff was completed successfully or not. So for example, in InMail, whether it failed or whether it passed would be you'd be able to see that there. So no, I don't have a number as to how many InMails you can, or free InMails even, you can send per day. But I would be very curious to find out if any of our users do hit that buffer at some point.
Thank you. Another user is saying that they were not able to acquire open profiles while searching on Sales Navigator. Is there a way that you can just filter open profiles?
No, there is no way to do that, which is why if you go into Sales Navigator and you look at all of the filters here, yeah, you can see here in my list that some of these are premium. See the ones with the little gold IN against them, so they will likely be open ones, depending on what they've done with their permissions. But that's where, yeah, whilst I've got 3,500 results here, I don't know how many of these are open profiles or not, which is why with the options with Dux-Soup, you can get Dux-Soup to just skip them if they're not open. And that's the important thing. Unfortunately, yeah, LinkedIn have made it such that you cannot filter that. But Dux-Soup can at least pick out the ones that are open, which is the benefit of being able to use Dux-Soup in this situation, to be able to identify them. So yeah, that's the way you're going to have to do it, I'm afraid. Yeah, LinkedIn have not been kind enough to provide us with such a filter.
Thank you. If Dux-Soup is running campaigns for me each day, could I also use InMail feature in addition?
Yes, you can certainly be sending InMails as well if you're running campaigns and sending out invitations. You could also be doing other activities with InMails. What most of the campaign stuff is set up to do is set to go out on delay, be it via the remote control. And if the Dux-Soup robot is running against another list, then that will put your campaign it may delay some of your messaging, because Dux-Soup will not try and carry out parallel activities. So if you're sending, for example, some InMails out to a lot of people, and then yeah, at some point you will need to give the robot time to also send out your campaign messages, which are familiar with the campaigns and those sorts of things. Then that's being sent, as we call, by the remote controls from the server. Those are messages that are being triggered on time delay by the server. So yeah, you just need to give the robot time, and also consider your daily limits. So depending on your account type as well and the amount of activity that you're allowing through the throttling tab, remember every time you send a message to someone, whether a connection request or a follow-up message or an InMail, it all each of those counts as a profile visit. So do take that into consideration, because of course, once you use up your profile visits for the day, then Dux-Soup won't do anything till the next day unless you increase those limits. So just be aware of how you balance all of your activities. It could be that you have a campaign that's just running, you've invited everyone into a campaign and you're just waiting for those follow-up messages to be sent. In which case, yeah, I would see very little impact of sending out InMails as well. Just make sure that you are InMailing them separately and not putting them into a campaign at the same time.
Thank you. Another question, we have quite a few users asking this, so I guess it would be better to just voice it out. Can you create a campaign starting from an InMail?
Unfortunately not, no, because an InMail is not a connection request. Now, one of the things that we also always encourage our users to do, if we go back to this page here, this is our suggestions page. So actually, I was having a discussion earlier today with a developer as well about, being able to put other activities into a campaign, be that an InMail activity or just a visit activity. So if you have these suggestions, have a look on this list here, upvote anything that you see that you think you would like to be added to the feature set of Dux-Soup. But at the moment, no, you cannot include or trigger a campaign with an InMail through the current user interface. Now you can, if you're using Zapier or Make and you're triggering activities through the remote control, you could also be sending InMails and enrolling people into campaigns. But that, I think, was probably predominantly for our advanced users who are triggering remote controls from systems other than what we have here within the standard user interface.
Thank you. I'm skimming through the questions. Give me 2 seconds.
No problem. It was a big crowd today, so I was expecting quite a lot of questions. That's good. Just while Jin's doing that, yeah, if you go to the website, that's where you can register for any of our webinars. So yeah, 2 weeks time, it's the getting started with Dux-Soup. So we'll be covering the basics of Pro and Turbo on that one. Just go to the link on the website where you can register for that. And very shortly, we'll be having the topic for the webinar after that publicized as well. So keep an eye out for that. Anything further, Jin?
Quite a few people asking about the limits of Dux-Soup, well, LinkedIn actually. Would you be able to clarify those limits?
Yeah, now about, where are we now? We're in April, aren't we? So about 14 months ago, LinkedIn implemented what they called their invitation, I think, yeah, connection request weekly limit. Which for some users was as few as 100 a week, and for some users, they didn't notice any difference. And there are lots and lots of factors which influence how much activity you can carry out on the LinkedIn platform. And what we've seen recently is actually a loosening somewhat of some of these restrictions. We've heard of some users who can send in excess of 500 connection requests in a week again. So we are seeing a relaxation of those particular limits for some users. I shouldn't say that. I should make that point clear. It's not across the board. So yeah, somewhere between 100 and maybe 250 connection requests per week seems to be the normal at the moment. Of course, it depends on how big your network is. It depends whether you have a free or a paid account, and also then what nature of paid account you have. It also depends upon what you are bringing to the network, bringing to the LinkedIn platform. Are you engaging with people? Are you sending things out? Are you posting messages? Are you contributing to the groups and the forums? All of these things contribute to your virtual score on LinkedIn And we believe that that has an impact upon how much you can do, because LinkedIn don't like you sending lots of unsolicited messages or doing, basically spamming people. So always think about, how you're targeting people, how you're messaging people, and then also think about, keep an eye on how successful it is. If you're getting a low response rate, for example, 10% of people are accepting your connection request, you're doing something wrong, to be honest. You should be able to achieve better than that if you have good targeting and good messaging. And then also think about your behavior. So for example, if you've got a campaign that you've built which has got a connection request message, a couple of hours later, thanks for connecting. A day later, you send another message, and then a day later, you send another message, and it all just looks too salesy. Remember, a lot of users aren't on LinkedIn every single day. So maybe some users will be logging on once a week. They accept a connection request from somebody, they open up their LinkedIn the following week and they see they've had 3 or 4 messages from someone. They're just going to mark it as spam. They think they're just being inundated with messages. So be respectful of how you treat people in your messaging. That will encourage, your better behavior will improve your statistics and your behavior and your ability to be able to do stuff. If you have things labeled as, I think this is spam, that goes like as a red mark against your profile and therefore makes it more likely that you will have less invites to send out and you can do less on the platform. And that's just the nature of it. If you are more respectful of people, if you message considerately and you're polite and you treat people how you would expect to be treated, then you can do more. So all of the limits have sort of gradually have evolved, and it is a moving target the whole time. With the recent Sales Navigator update, that's when we started to see people being able to send more invites again. But of course, at one point, it was very much a case of limit the invites to encourage people to buy InMail credits. So it's a little bit of sort of, take with one, give with the other. So with regard to the limits, I always say to people, start slowly with your invites and with your messaging. Start from sending out maybe 20 or 30 invites a day, no more than that, and see how it goes. Dux-Soup has got features built in so that it keeps your account as safe as possible. It makes it look like it's a human being that's doing it rather than it being done through the back door, through an API which is not approved. It's all being done, on your screen on your behalf. So it's not under the table or anything like that. But do it in such a way, have the robot running at a sensible, slow speed, so it looks like it's a human being. Make use of all of the other throttling settings so that it's not running 24/7. And have a look through some of our previous blog posts, because we've got a lot of information in there, a lot of which echoes what I've just said as well. So yeah, just be aware of the limits and treat the platform with respect, and you'll be able to do more and more and more.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Another question would be, do you know if there's a limit to buy InMail credit?
I don't, I'm afraid. You'll need to have a look on the LinkedIn pages. I'm going to have a quick look while we're talking here. I know you used to be able to buy credits InMail credits. Yeah, I know you used to be able to buy them, but I'm just looking now. I can only find an article which says you can buy them additionally for Recruiter Lite, but yeah, and they're sold in packs of 10. So yeah, I believe that I don't know if there is a limit or not. So I've not tried purchasing any before. So yeah, that's something to have a look at. And you can always ask LinkedIn. I mean, it's not an unusual question to fire to LinkedIn. So so sending a support message to LinkedIn would be my recommendation there, to find out how many you can purchase, if indeed you need to. If I remember rightly, they weren't cheap when I looked before, but there's actually no pricing here on the web page as far as I can see at the moment.
Thank you very much. I also want to clarify that LinkedIn InMails are not provided by Dux-Soup. So Dux-Soup does not limit you on how many InMails you can send, but we do not sell InMail credits. This is LinkedIn limit. It's LinkedIn's feature. So Dux-Soup is not linked with InMails.
Yeah, good point, Jin. Anything else?
Another question would be, is one user was asking, is using InMail actually effective? As he would think that people who receive InMail are usually reluctant to read it because they think that it's spammy. What
Thanks
is your experience with InMail?
My experience of dealing with quite a few people who use InMail, and yeah, it does depend. It depends on your industry, it depends on your location, but it largely depends upon how you message people. And the people who are most effective are the people who have good messaging targeted at the people with, with messages that are, they look like a conversation. They feel like they're genuine messages. They're engaging, and they touch upon personal aspects insofar as they relate to how they found them through a search result or through a group search. They relate to that sort of thing, and they are, say, posing open questions. I've received quite a few InMails doing what I do, and I sometimes see quite a mixed bag of messaging. Of course, I do. And the ones that are most effective are those chatty, conversational ones, which aren't too in your face and salesy. A lot of LinkedIn users appreciate that InMails are actually a scarce credit, and if you're using an InMail to contact somebody, then you're already placing some value upon that potential target. So yeah, I mean, I personally have experienced a lot of very positive feedback from people using InMails. And if you've got a paid account and you're not using your InMails, then you think, well, why am I bothering to have a paid account? It's there to use. You've kind of got nothing to lose by trying it, because it is just opening up more possibilities for you. But yeah, everybody of course has their own ideas, but the important thing is to work on your messaging, because that's where you will either make a difference, or yeah, as you say, potentially it'll look too spammy and will fail.
Thank you very much. That's it from me for today. There's no more questions.
Cool. Thank you, Jen. I will sign off then and say thank you for your support, Jen, and I will speak to everybody in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If we haven't answered your questions, please get in touch with Dux-Soup support. It's available on Dux-Soup website. Dux-Soup support will be very happy to help you with your further questions. Thank you so much again for joining us today, and hopefully we will see you on our next webinar. Bye-bye.